Tired of looking like a wimp on your pull-ups? Ugh. Then it's time to make that a thing of the past and build some wings.
I'm Batman.
Hey guys, Coach Eric here, helping you to improve your exercise performance, your safety, and your results. And on today's video, I'm going to be taking you through one of the king of strength and conditioning exercises, which is the pull-up. Pulling is one of the 6 foundational movement patterns that you should be working if you want to be a functional human. It has crossovers to a lot of areas of life. It could be life or death.
Please, I don't want it to.
Or it could be just balancing out your mechanics and your physical body if you're working on building a better body composition or greater strength and conditioning so your posture doesn't fall to hell. This tutorial will have elements for all kinds of people, no matter where you are in your journey, whether you're a beginner to pull-ups or someone who's more seasoned. I'm sure some of the cues I'll be giving you in this tutorial will just drop a new idea in there for you to give you extra stability and extra benefits from your pull-up routine. Now, if you're a beginner, don't be intimidated from the bars, guys, and don't compare your chapter 2 to my chapter 20. Every master was once a disaster. So I'm going to give you guys a regressed version of the pull-up, which will actually be in the chin-up form with a supinated grip and focus on the eccentric deloading, so you can build up your conditioning so someday you'll have the strength to do the full pull-up. So what muscles are involved in the pull-up? Well, if you do them correctly with the arch back version, you're going to be hitting the entire posterior chain. Now, I do mean from head to toe. Everything should be lit up. I will give you cues for that, but we're talking lats, traps, rhomboids, erector spinae, glutes, hamstrings, even quads, and big time on your abs, guys. One of the best ab exercises or core, forget about abs, core exercises, as it's a 360-degree unit, is pull-ups, creating enough stability and stiffness in the entire trunk to be able to pull clean and focus on the pull aspect of the pull-up without damaging your shoulders. You shouldn't be bouncing around on the bar or using momentum to get yourself in a kipping form. That's a surefire way to destroy your shoulders. Now, before we get to the pull-up phase, we want to make sure that we mobilize the joints and activate the tissues that are going to be involved in the actual pull-ups, whether we're doing the beginners or the more advanced versions. We're going to start off with a dead hang to begin with, a passive hang, and then move on to a more active hang. So what I want to do is take whichever grip you're comfortable with. I think the supinated might be awkward for this, so if you can do an overhand grip and catch a bar that you're comfortable with. Now, if you've had any low back issues or any disc issues, then I suggest leave your feet on the ground. Don't traction yourself right through the spine. And actually, if you had some disc issues, then you might want to regress your exercise entirely from any version of pull-up, as it puts a lot of loading on the spine. For beginners, a limiting factor with the pull-up, of course, is the grip strength. But don't panic, we're going to adapt in this tutorial. To do a passive hang preparation for the spine and the shoulders, just to create more space in the structure, I'm going to switch to an overhand grip for the passive hang with my feet on the floor. If you've had low back issues or any disc issues, then hanging, you've got to be very careful you're not putting a lot of pressure on those discs by hanging your entire body weight. So what do? We're going overhand grip outside of shoulders. I'm going to sink my hips down slowly, walk my feet further forward so my hips are directly under the shoulder line, and allow the shoulders to drift towards the ears, letting the hips sink towards the floor. Now, even though I don't have my feet on the ground, I can create additional traction through the spine by almost pulling my hips towards the ground. If I'm just hanging out here and sitting, it's kind of inactive in the bottom end. But if I hang from the shoulders and the thoracic spine and almost tilt my pelvis into an extra anterior tilt, I can get an extra opening in the lumbar spine. It's subtle, but it makes a big difference. I'm just going to hang out here and breathe, keep even pressure on the grip. I don't want to fatigue the grip, pre-fatigue the grip here in this position. I just want to get used to holding the bar consistently and well over the hands, breathing to the belly, expanding through those lateral ribs, through the lumbar spine. Exhale. Now I'm going to want to do somewhere between 20 to 30 second holds in the passive hang, and you can repeat that for 2 or 3 rounds just to create more space in the structure. I'm going overhand for this passive hang. I'm going to catch the bar, and I'm just going to let my spine lengthen with a slight posterior tilt. If you see this from the side, I'm having my hips tilted under with my heels lengthening towards the floor. I'm just going to focus on breathing, expanding through the diaphragm, expanding through the lateral ribs. Now in this version, I can allow my shoulders just to drift towards my ears. Okay, in the full pull-up, we don't want shoulders drifting towards the ears, as this is going to cause problems for our shoulders. But just for the passive hang, we're going to hang out here for around 20 to 30 seconds and just imagine the spine is lengthening, sending your pelvis towards the floor, and keep your neck nice and neutral. Second phase then is going to be the active hang. Now, if you don't have the strength to do this, you can do the regressed version with your feet on the ground. Bring your feet slightly further forward, sit down into your hips, and we're going to engage those lats and traps, pull the shoulders away from those ears and squeeze your lats and hug your scapula along the rib cage. So it does a nice posterior tilt and hugs in along the rib cage. So you should feel all of the back muscles engage, and you see this spiraling happening here. This crushing with the grip, trying to break the bar, lean back and hold tension. For the more advanced version of that, just make sure you do the overhand grip version, outside of shoulder width grip. I'm going to plug the leaks by pulling the feet together, squeeze the bar, pull those shoulder blades down, lats on, traps on, lift the shoulders away from the ears, and squeeze and hold. And release. So we're going to do, where are you? We're going to do 5-second activations and then release. We can repeat that for 5 or 6 repetitions of an isometric contraction for 5-second holds, whether you're doing the more advanced version or you're doing the beginner's version. Now I'm going to show you the regressed version for you guys who are newbies to the park and to pull-ups by using the supinated grip, which is this position here, in a chin-up fashion, which is going to put more loading on the lats, on the chest muscles actually, and the biceps with a little bit of delts in here, rear delts as well. First of all, we want to make sure we get a low bar. You can use a prop box if you're in a gym to give you that extra bit of boost. The most difficult part of the pull-up, ironically, is the pull phase. So today on this version, we're going to use a box or a little bit of a jump to boost us to the top, lock in the hollow body position, which is a forward rounded position, using the abs, using the hip flexors to create that tension, and slowly eccentrically lowering under control. Release the bar and then repeat the reps. Whether you're doing this version or you're doing the full pull-up, what I want to do is point the toes down and pull the feet together, which switches on the calf, which switches on the quad, hits abs a little bit more, adductors, and even glutes to fire that little bit more. So think of, as you're pulling yourself to the bar, getting your chest up and over the bar, we're squeezing the limbs together. So it's crushing in and pulling up. We inhale, we drop on the boost box or from the floor, whichever version you have or position you have. We'll inhale and adduct the legs, elbows in, take out the swing, lats on, lower, pull the elbows together. Keep even tension through that hand. So crushing the bar, lengthen through. And remember, don't let your shoulders come up to your ears. Stabilize and resist that weakness to let your shoulders drive towards the ears. Okay, let's look at the more intermediate to advanced arch back pull-up, which is going to have the grip outside of shoulder width position. As I mentioned earlier, the grip position, this is putting too much loading on the brachialis around the elbow. The super wide position puts a lot of strain on the shoulders and is not so functional. So we want to go just outside of shoulder width grip. So as I mentioned, the grip, chalk up well, make sure that that pinky and ring finger are doing even amount of grip work, so don't start to let these fingers drift. And as you grip the bar, I want you to imagine pulling the bar or the hands together and externally spiraling tension through. So as I do this, look what happens. Boom. The elbows come forward of the shoulder line, which is more functional for the shoulders, but more importantly, it switches on this bad boy here. Mr. Python. Switches on those lats, all right? So super important. This is the prime driver in this movement. This is the big power. This is the big meat. This is where the money is at, all right? So we want to crush the bar, keep tension through the arm, spiraling tension through as we lean back. And don't imagine trying to pull yourself to the bar, but pull the bar to you, all right, which is a distinction because it's not only a mindset and aggression to attack the bar, but it's how you end up in thoracic extension. We want to make sure that we're not collapsing over the bar when we get up. We want to maintain thoracic extension, which favors the working mechanisms of the shoulders. We want to be very mindful that our shoulders don't cave in, otherwise we're going to get impingement. We want to keep the shoulders in external rotation, safe and happy with those elbows locked forwards. When I'm on the bar, and like many exercises, I'm thinking about intensity. Can you hold as much tension through the structure that doesn't impede on the movements of the joints? And when we're doing pull-ups, as we reach overhead, the scapula rolls upwards into upward rotation, and as we pull, it rolls down, hugs around the rib cage, and stimulates along those lats. We don't want the shoulders to close off like this, because this is going to cause a torsion force on the AC joint and close down space, which is a big no-no. Make sure you keep those lats on to support the shoulders. We want to get a long position at the bottom. Don't let your shoulders shrug towards your ears. That being said, we want the arm to be fully elongated to get that full stretch reflex on those lats. All right, let's get down to business. Arms outside of shoulder width grip. Look up at the bar. We're going to reach and catch. Crush the bar, spiraling tension, pull the elbows forward, plug the leaks, pushing the feet together, lean back. I want to really engage those lats and traps to start the movement, and then I'm going to pull my sternum right to the bar. Get right over the top, and then slowly lower. There's no rush to get down. Most of the gains, especially for hypertrophy, will be on the elongation phase. Take that inhalation, stiffen, pull. You'll see my legs come forward as well on that lean back. They'll drop down, maybe under my center line a little bit, but as I pull and spiral up and lean back, my legs drift forwards. Aim to time the breath so you inhale at the bottom, stiffen the core, exhale upwards through tight lips, take another quick inhalation at the top, and then slowly exhale as you're holding tension all through the posterior chain. Ooh, all the while I want to keep tension on the lats, keep tension on the working muscles also on the anterior chain, which is the abs, the quads, those calves, and pulling the feet together. Remember, we want to explode towards the bar, pulling the bar to us and slowly lower down. The more advanced you are, the slower you should go on the eccentric deloading while keeping tension on those lats. If you do get a twist, let me show you a demo of a twist. I want you to readjust at the top, pull the elbows forward, lean back, restabilize, and try and correct that as you're on top. Don't stay in the twist, readjust and get back down. All right, guys, that's our pull-up. If you got value from this video, please like and subscribe to this channel as it's brand new. Put in the comments if there's any other exercise you want me to break down with these nuances and on these cues. And if you want me to be your coach and help you build those wings, then head over to erichigginscoaching.com, baby.